You're listening to the relaxing, soothing, and stress-free sounds of Sacramento Smooth Jazz.
Welcome back to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. I'm your host, Michael Andrews, and we're here to bring you the finest in contemporary and mainstream jazz, not to mention conversations with the artists themselves. We have a special treat for you, and you're in for something absolutely incredible. We're about to be graced by the incredibly talented saxophonist and vocalist, Paula Atherton. That's right. Paula Atherton has not only graced us before with her acumen on the saxophone, but she's also masterfully wields the flute. Based in the vibrant heart of New York City, she's had the privilege of sharing the stage with an impressive array of contemporary jazz artists. Just imagine musical encounters with the Rippingtons, David Sanborn, Bob James, Althea Renee, Brian Simpson. The list goes on, and it's nothing short of a who's who in the world of smooth jazz. With a rich and storied history in the industry, Paula Atherton is not ready to stop. Today, we'll uncover her musical journey, her influences, and of course, we're going to treat your ears to some of her tunes. Paula, welcome back to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. How are you today?
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And, we've had you on before. We've talked intermittently since that time, and you've been traveling internationally. I think one time we were talking, we were just chatting it up online, and you were like, hey, I'm in Portugal.
Yeah.
You're just doing your thing, and you got some new music coming out. There's so much to talk about. So how about this? What's going on with the new music? Where you been? Give us some insight as to what's happening with Paula these days.
Well, I've been trying to get my 7th album done, but I did a lot of tour dates this year. Finally back for most of the fourth quarter. So I was getting ready to get it out, and my distributor doesn't really have any more dates left this year. So
right.
Spoiled again. So I guess the full album is going to come out in January. It's what it's looking like now. No, it doesn't have a name.
Okay.
I don't know.
Right.
It's I guess you're supposed to be more creative and call it something that's not like a song title. But Can You Feel It worked out pretty well. So
Yeah. Can You Feel It? You've had some chart toppers on that album.
Yeah. I've had, I think there's 2 number ones on that. Yeah, Summer Song and Can You Feel It? And then the third song that went number 1 on Media Base and 4 on Billboard was Keep It Coming. And that's going to be on the new album, as is Open Road. And my new single that's coming out October 9th, produced and co-written by Greg Manning and myself, which is called Dancing Shoes.
Yeah, I'm seeing right now the cover art on that. Got your sax, so you're ready to rock and roll. So Greg Manning, I know you worked with so many others. Anybody that you want to talk about who helped you with this, produced or co-wrote with you on this one?
On Dancing Shoes?
On the whole album.
Well, Lou, my husband, produced a fair amount of the stuff that's on there. This tune called Soul Picnic. I'm just doing this off the top of my head now, so whatever comes to me. This old school R&B tune that I wrote called Give Me a Reason. This flute tune that I wrote called Baila. That's really fun. This other instrumental tune for sax that I wrote called Inside Out Backwards. Actually, the last couple shows I did, I played Baila and Inside Out Backwards live. And people came up to the CD table after the show, and they're like, the first 2 tunes, which one is that on? I'm like, nope, sorry about that. Can't get them.
Wow. It sounds like a fun project that you have right now. Again. And, definitely whenever you're going, people really get into. Now, you mentioned the flute. So you're gracing us with the flute.
Yeah. And I used to write for soprano sax too, but it's so hard to take a third instrument on the road. I know some doublers have these cases that are like alto and soprano or tenor and soprano. I could barely get my alto in the overhead, and I'm just too paranoid to do something like that, to get the double case and see if I could get it on, or if they want to gate check it. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
It's stressful enough just traveling and adding something like that in. I just, so I kind of stopped writing for soprano. But yes, I usually write at least 1 song for flute every album. And this one is called Baila. It's got a couple of spots for percussion solos. It's a percussion feature as well as a flute feature. And I hope it gets everybody up dancing.
Well, if your other albums are a testament, then it definitely will. I'm not just saying that because you're Paula Atherton. We've listened to your music, so our listeners know what's going on, Paula, and they're like, hey, when's that dropping? In January? Okay. So maybe we get something sooner. We'll see. And,
I think so.
Yeah, why not? Why not? So with the travels, now tell me something here. When it comes to being on stage and sharing the stage and experiences with other artists, what has really stood out to you as a memorable experience with other artists? Were you ever in awe, like, wow, I'm here with this person or these people? Take us through that.
Yeah, well, when I played Portugal this year, I took a red eye from New York, so I had no sleep. I just, flew on the overnight. And so Christian, the person that puts the festival on, had us all scheduled for a jam session that night, kind of like later in the evening. And everybody was like, I'm a zombie, I can't play. But everybody was invited down. So everybody showed up, and amazing players and friends. It was me, Gerald Albright, Andy Snitzer, Michael Apollo, and Everett Hart. So yeah, I was standing on stage looking around going, oh, this is really cool.
Right. Yes. Wow. You and all those. That's an experience.
Yeah. And you know what? They're all the nicest guys. Some I know better than others. Everybody was super nice to me. And that whole thing was a great experience. The audience treated us like family. Everybody involved with putting on the festival was great. I had this room that was on the ocean. I had a balcony.
Wow.
It's just how did I get here? This is crazy.
I love it when the promoter is just treating you folks like royalty, just making sure you guys are comfortable and at peace on the balcony overlooking the water, right? Wow. Nice.
Oh my God. It was just so beautiful. The whole thing was like a fairy tale,
Now, traditional jazz and smooth jazz are both parts of your repertoire. How do you approach blending those genres to create that musical experience? And what's most rewarding about that? How do you blend those two facets of music?
Well, I have a traditional jazz background. I still play from the American Songbook when I'm here in New York because that's kind of like what they're into here. They're not really into contemporary. So when I write little pieces of music that I like, come out, and that's one of them. And R&B, old school R&B, funk, even pop, all kinds of music that I listen to and love. And it just depends on, how it comes out that particular time.
To have that background experience really just speaks volumes to your creativity, being able to add a lot more into your music in the smooth jazz genre. So to give us a flavor as to what's really going on. And that's really unique when you're able to have that experience to blend that in, to give us smooth jazz listeners really a true musical experience. Thank you for that.
No, thank you. As a matter of fact, I might be able to send you something right now that you can play.
Hey, come on now. Come on now. You hear that, ladies and gentlemen? That's what's going on here at Sacramento Smooth Jazz. We hope and pray that we're able to get this. And we typically get it early, but thank you for that. Now, let me ask you something here. Your influences range from Billie Holiday, Charlie Parker, as we go back to the traditional jazz here. You've achieved some chart-topping success. We talked a little bit about that. Can you tell us some specific aspects of these legendary artists that you pull from? Talk to us about that as you're pulling that into your music. What's that like when it comes to incorporating the essence of those greats, those legends? What's the mindset on that? It has to be just phenomenal.
There's so much to be learned from all these masters, I really encourage, if I'm teaching or doing a workshop, I tell students, you may listen to Billie Holiday and think she's too simplistic. But if you try to sing along with her, you'll see how relaxed you have to be able to phrase, to be able to back phrase the way she does, and the way she improvises on a melody simply. But it's like when I studied with Lee Konitz, he told me there were 10 levels of improvising. The first level is just the melody. Second level is the melody with a little bit of embellishment, and so on and so forth till you get to 10. So Billie Holiday really employs that beautifully when you listen to her sing a melody. And I just remember the first time I started to sing with her recordings, and I was like, whoa, this seems easy, but it's really hard.
Now let me ask, now for those who don't know, can you explain back phrasing? What is that?
It's a type of phrasing that, you can be on the beat, you could be in front of the beat a little bit, or some people say on top of the beat or behind the beat. So her main place to be when she's phrasing is just behind the beat a little bit, just really relaxed. And it just creates this whole bigger sense of time because you're employing, the beat, the backside of the beat rather than, pushing it. It's just a more relaxed place to be.
Nice. Now, with one of your chart toppers, what I want to do here, just real quick, I want to let our listeners, for those who just may not have heard your music, I want to give them the opportunity to hear one of the ones that you've already had on some success on the charts. And which one would you want them to hear? Because we're going to come back after they hear that.
I guess, Can You Feel It?
Yes, there you go. So, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to do, we're going to let you feel it with her track, Can You Feel It, right here on Sacramento Smooth Jazz. We'll be right back after that. that was Can You Feel It? So I'm sure you felt that. And the way it pops in, it's just nice. Now, Paula, you waste no time at all with that track. It comes right in. You're just like, hey, listen, let's rock and roll. You're just, let's do this. No intro, no subtle What's behind that? What was the inspiration behind Can You Feel It?
Well, Greg Manning and I had been talking about working together. Then we hadn't spoken for about a year. And then he called me and said, I think I have something that you might like. So he sent me a little snippet. I think it was like 4 measures of his idea for the chorus. And I said, yeah, I really like this. So he put the rest of the track together. I wrote the rest of the song and got released in January 2020 and wound up going to #1 for like 3 weeks on Billboard, 4 weeks on the Smooth Jazz Network. That was my first #1. You know, during COVID when I was quarantined, couldn't work. It was really it's like a miracle song.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful song and it just hits real strong. That's the first time I remember the first time hearing it. I was like, wow. I like to get to the point on matters sometimes, and that song does that. Really just allows us to really get into the groove and really hear you. So yeah, I'm glad you and Greg worked on that. So let's talk about some of this new music. And now we talked a little bit about it. We're going to be talking about this new track that's coming out, and I'm thrilled that we'll have it to share with our listeners. What's the name of their latest release that's coming out?
My latest release coming out, going for ads on October 9th, is called Dancing Shoes.
For those of you who are just tuning in, we're talking with saxophonist and vocalist, flute extraordinaire, Paula Atherton. So I just want to mention that again. So Dancing Shoes. So we're getting back up on the dance floor.
Yes,
we're getting us up. So there's a theme with you. You like to dance, huh?
I like to dance, but I really like to make people happy.
Yeah. Well, you do that with your music for sure. With this particular track, what can you share with us before we venture into it?
I think the title tells them what they need to know about the tune in a way. I think it's going to put a smile on people's faces. I think it's going to make them happy. They hear it come on the radio when they're driving down the road. I think they're going to turn it up.
Well, you've definitely been busy. So what's going on? Any future? What's going on? What's your next tour date? Where are you going to be?
Well, I have an exciting show coming up November 18th. At the Lyman Center in Connecticut. It's going to be myself, Carol Albert, and Reagan Whiteside.
Hey, that's going to be nice.
Yeah, it's really going to be fun. We're each going to feature some of our music, and then we're going to play together at the end.
Hey, nice. Hey, you hear that, folks? You're going to be in that area. Check it out. Now, how can people get in touch with you?
Well, they can get in touch with me or follow me on Instagram, Facebook. I have a friends page and a fan page. Twitter or X, whatever it's called these days.
Right.
I'm on that. So they could find me on social media. And my website is paulaatherton.com. They can also sign up for bands in town. That's a good thing because they keep you abreast of when I'm playing in a particular area.
Yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, she hits the road. She's out there. She's making it happen and getting people on their feet all over the globe, because she's Portugal here, Europe somewhere else, and you've been really busy on the road, just playing your music. So I'm grateful to have had you today on the show to share your experiences, just share some insight about you. So thank you for gracing us with your time today. I appreciate it.
Thanks so much for having me. It's always great to chat with you.
Yeah, thank you. And would you like to do us the honor of introducing our listeners to your song as we end here?
Ladies and gentlemen, here it is, produced by Mr. Greg Manning and co-written by Greg and myself, Dancing Shoes.
You're listening to it right here, ladies and gentlemen, right here on Sacramento Smooth Jazz. Thank you, Paula, for hanging out with me today.
Thanks so much for having me, Michael.
Thanks for listening to Sacramento Smooth Jazz. To continue listening to Smooth Jazz 24/7, follow Sax Smooth Jazz on social media and listen by going to saxsmoothjazz.fm.